I'm Jazz Page. I'm from Santa Monica, California. Now I live in Texas, which I reside with my girlfriend and our two daughters, wonderful daughters actually, um, and family. I was diagnosed with rectal cancer, which is basically stage 3, borderline stage 4, and I'm very fortunate to catch it in enough time to before it spread it to the other organs. Vacation in Hawaii, which is Waikiki, beautiful resort area. I would recommend everyone to try to get a chance to go there. It's very beautiful. Um, However, while I was even before, we were on the way to go to the vacation. I just had this urge, like I had wanted to use the restroom all the time, and every time I used the restroom, it was never. It felt like it was just full. Um, I don't know. I tried every like basically over the counter um remedy. I tried I thought it was basically a hemorrhoid or just basically some type of skin tag, and that urge wouldn't leave. So during the vacation, I just like honestly, I went to the restroom probably like 8 to 10 times a day, just wondering like, what is this feeling like? What is going on? And I ignored it. And then finally I seen, a little blood coming from the bottom. And this was like, it wasn't really shocking, because I felt like I said once before, it was just like a hemorrhoid, like, oh, I'm just gonna get some preparation H and kind of, put a band-aid on it until I get back. And when I got back, I told my girlfriend, like, hey, I sat on the toilet and I noticed I was, bleeding. And she was basically like saying, I noticed you've been like, you dropped a couple of pounds on your weight. And I was like, oh, because like they say, if you don't really notice yourself how much weight you lose or gain until someone else noticed that. And she basically was kind of saying like, well, you can't ignore that. Let's go to the doctor. And I was like, I don't want to go to the doctor. It's like, I'm gonna be all right. So I went back to work, and, basically the reality after the vacation set in. And I noticed when I was at work, and keep in mind, I like, I'm the food and beverage director, so I have to be like on the go, go, go all the time. But something just kept like stopping me. So like I had to go to the restroom, and then it was like more blood. And I was like, what is going on? And to be honest, I was very scared because the simple fact I thought I was going to pass out in something. Next couple of days, I went to the doctor, and it was one of those urgent care doctors. And they told me there's really nothing they can do. They can give me like some type of medication, but if I want to see and forego for the serious situation, I have to go to a technical hospital. And I made an appointment to go to the ER, and they told me to come right in. So when I got checked in, my hemoglobin count was 6, and my hemoglobin score was basically all the time was like basically a 22 or 24. And the doctor told me he felt if I wouldn't have came in, I would have bled out. And the internal bleeding was from the tumor. So I was just laying there, it's how many sense of humor, like, I'll be all right. I'll be home. So they kept me overnight, and this is at UTMB. They kept me overnight, and basically the doctor was like, hey, I'm going to have to do a colonostomy. And I was like, excuse me? So I was like, I thought you have to wait till you're like 50 years old to do that. And he was like, basically how common cancer is now. And, it's recommended for everyone. So he performed the colonostomy, and I was sedated. Next thing you know, I wake up, and the doctor came straight up forward to me direct and said, hey, we found some type of tumor that was blocking the camera from going further to see what was the deal. And he said, I bet it's cancer. So while sedated, and all the emotions hit me at once. I really didn't remember, but I remember that statement, what he told me, that it's cancer. So they kept me 2 more days to do some more tests. And then that's when my other doctor came in, and, Dr. Pham, he was basically just you know, I guess he was recommended from the other doctor that did the performance on the colonoscopy, and he was talking to me, and like he was the one he urged that I do an MRI, CAT scan, and after they did that CAT scan, that's when they found it was basically cancer. And the doctor sat down and told me eye to eye, we're gonna have to do what we have to do to get this going. And I say, what's the final step? I mean, what is the first step that I should do? And all the emotions is going, and he basically gave me some type of uplift moment when he said, just because you have cancer, your life doesn't stop. And first people I thought about was just my family, and like how would I tell my family members and my friends, and I kept in mind that it's not a death sentence, and I was just lucky enough to um, not have that cancer touch the other organs. In the process, I had to wait almost 2 months to get the first procedure to go. And then that's when while I was enlisted in the hospital, I had to get the actual the colostomy bag because I was backed up. And that itself was really depressing because I was like, what? I'm gonna have to walk around with this bag on my stomach. And I was very athletic. I work out a lot. I can't work out still to this day because I still have my colostomy bag. I'm not able to lift like 40 to 50 pounds. And also I have an IV port that's in my chest um, but I will say during this time, I'm very thankful for the support of my girlfriend. She was there from, point A to point Z where I am now without it was very frustrating because I'm the type of person like have to ask a million of questions to my doctors. And so after I got the colonoscopy bag, sorry, I had to stay there until I, had some bowel movements. That was like 7 to 8 days. I couldn't eat it. I was only clear diet. I couldn't have my coffee. I couldn't have like my snacks. That really like kind of depressed me a little bit. But at the same time, I noticed some certain things when I walk around the hospital. What really gave me the improvement on self-awareness on how to be not depressed and not be like about me, poor me. There was on that floor, there were patients. Every single door that I passed, it seems like that person had it worse than me. And every time, like it's a teary eye drop because the simple fact you think you're going through something and someone else is going through something worse than you are. And I took that as a testimony. And I made that promise on that same day as I seen these different patients that were suffering through pain, yelling out in the middle of the night. I told myself, I won't complain. I will be better. I will be this light to other people. I left the hospital, and keep in mind, I did say I work at a restaurant, so I had to get used to this stoma. And I was working so hard one day, and I didn't think in my mind because my muscle memory wasn't up to par with this stoma that I got to take it easy. So when you work in the restaurant business, you have to lift up kegs, and the kegs is like 50 to 55 pounds. And I lifted up the keg, and I wasn't really paying attention. And then after the middle of the night, my stomach collapsed. It was like hanging out my bag. Oh my gosh. And it was hanging out my bag. And keep in mind, my girlfriend works in the medical field. So I was like, oh my gosh. I came home and I noticed it was hanging out. And I was like, just Dr. Google what to do. My stomach come out? Do I like lay down? It'll go in? And I showed my girlfriend, she was like, oh yeah, you need to go. But she wasn't as shocked as I was because she's seen so much. So I got back to the hospital, and my, Dr. Andreas, he's my colorectal surgeon doctor. and he's the one that did the surgery. But in the meantime, they were trying to stick it back in. They put sugar on it. They did all these type of, I guess, methods to try to go back in. And I had to stay 2 more nights in the hospital due to this stoma. Yeah. So after doing the process of this stoma collapse, Dr. Andreas came to me and basically said, "Hey, man, we found another tumor in your stomach that was making the stoma go out." And doing the process with in between before the stoma collapsed, I thought I was just having these minor side effects of the bleeding from the stoma from the first previous surgery. And the first thing I asked was why they didn't see this tumor in my stomach when they did the colostomy. And he said, "This is, science has its ways of being different. And this is very shocking that they found another stone, like another tumor in my stomach. Thankfully, he removed it because it was growing in I guess, my stomach area. And after that, to make the long story short, is after my stoma was replaced and he had to cut a little inch off. My doctor recommended that I have 12 rounds of chemo. And I thought it was going to be a nightmare. I thought I was just going to not be able to go further. First round with chemo, it was the nurses were very nice. They were very helpful. They were very motivating. And once again, it's so alarming how life works because during that whole process of the chemo, I seen other people that were sitting there in the room that just basically was just coming, coming to the chemo after they were being told there's nothing they can do to help them. And I sit by these people and they share their stories to me. And it's amazing how I will never forget this lady. She had the chemo called the devil. It's basically the strongest chemo. Um, I don't know why they call it the devil, but she said it's the strongest chemo, and the doctors told her there was nothing they could do. But her spirit was shining, and she was basically like she go through the she go through the process of the chemo, and she just lay there, tell her stories, happy, some a little bit extra, but she told stories to other patients to make them, laugh and make to comfort them. And she called the chemo cocktails. And I was like, so as a newbie coming into the chemo room, I'm thinking like chemo, like cocktails or I'm like, are they drinking cocktails? I said, are they really drinking cocktails in this place? So I got to know the nicknames of the chemo. You had to run to the can, what they recommended on that. I tried to recommend, they told me I had to take that second round of chemo, which is run to the can, and I understood exactly what that meant. But my situation, I couldn't run to the can because I have a colostomy bag. But throughout that process, it was very painful for my stomach, so I had to discontinue that. I was thankfully I didn't have any symptoms like vomiting, no hair loss. Once again, I cannot gain my weight because the tumor itself it takes so many calories away from you. Um, I went through 1 through 12, and with the 1 through 6, then 12, I was amazed because at first I thought that I couldn't go any further. But just by seeing everyone's answers and stories in that chemo room, the nurses taking care of everyone, even though they're understaffed, they never did complain. They go forward to make sure all of their patients is, treated well. I have 36 rounds of radiation, which is basically 6 weeks. And also I have to take the chemo pills. It's a little bit extra to make the process easier for when I have my final surgery to remove the tumor. And the doctors just want to make sure right now from what they're seeing of how this tumor is reacting and I guess going through the process, they said right now, if I don't go with the radiation and the chemo pills, it will be 10 years that I have. Um, but if I want to forego this chemo, I mean, this radiation, I'm so sorry, and the chemo pills, it will be 20 to 25 years. That's amazing how this new science works. And I was introduced to this test. It's the Signatera test. It's basically what they do is they draw your blood, and it's basically how they come up with the DNA results of how the tumor is reacting inside of your body. So that's the great thing about it. Well, my doctor now is worrying about I have a polyp like sitting on my liver, and it said it's just not doing anything, like reacting or anything, but it did light up just a little bit. Um, so that's what the main concern. That's the reasoning to the addition of the chemo pills and the actual radiation. They just want to make sure that everything is okay before they have that final surgery to pull out that tumor. I'm just ready to get this, just ready to get it over and, just kill this cancer. And yeah, I do have my life. I do enjoy life, but it's sometimes I do have in my mind my situation may be bearing on, my loved ones, my family members. And sometimes when I go around them, I don't want to have the C word talk. I want to live life. I want to be like, don't worry about how I'm doing. That I'm here to enjoy life with you. Hi, how's your day? How are you doing? I don't want to have no one feeling sorry for me. So it is a, worrisome disease, but I know through great doctors and through situations, everything is going to be okay. There may be times when you feel like you're alone, no one understands your sickness or your disease or your situation. You may feel like you may be a load to others to guide you through this situation, but don't give up. Never ever fault your loved ones or significant others for your situation because you're not alone. Uh, there may be times when you feel like giving up, you know. Uh, when you wrestle with yourself, should I go this route or should I listen to this doctor or should I give up? But you never give up because the number one thing that I've learned is the support from the people that you love and love you dearly, unconditionally. There's no other support more than that. You can get your support from your doctors. You can get your support from your nurses. You can get your support from yourself. You don't really need anyone to motivate you other than yourself. Your inner being is your inner power. If the way you look at things and look at life, it can wake you up, or it can, it can damage you. But I'm not gonna say damage, but I just want everyone to know your situation can be your appreciation. And when you get that chance to ring that bell, keep in mind, you thank those nurses, you thank those doctors, and you thank everyone that's there for you. Anyone can be that boost in your life through that situation. And once again, for the last time, do not ever try to go disobey what your body is telling you. Your body will let you know. It will talk to you. It will speak to you through symptoms and situations that, hey, you need to go get checked.